It's a pleasure to interview Sir Martin Sorrell right here on ET Now from Davos Direct. Thanks very much, sir.
I wish I could say it's freezing.
It is.
Early morning and freezing. I'm looking at the moon.
I hope a warm conversation keeps us going. But,
we'll try.
But let's just talk about the world that we're living in. And
Yeah.
it seems everybody got it horribly wrong. Britain did
As
exit.
usual, maybe the best way of forecasting it goes the reverse way to what Davos says.
Why did everybody get wrong?
Well, because
Brexit and the US election?
We live in, I guess the answer is we sort of live in a bubble here. And if you look at what happened on Brexit, we were talking to people ourselves in London. In relation to Clinton and Trump, we were talking to ourselves on the east coast of the United States or the west coast, and ignoring what some people call the flyover area of America. So there are some fundamental changes in this rarefied atmosphere, both physically
That's right.
and mentally, or we think it is. Obviously, we're out of touch with reality. So this was a massive reality check. And, of course, people are concerned about getting it right in relation to Germany, in relation to France, in relation to Holland, a number of other elections that will come up in short time.
So when you say we got it all horribly wrong, are you going to now answer a very candid question? Is the world seeing a
The
rise?
first one was a pretty candid
Indeed it
one.
was. Is the world seeing a rise of this raw nationalism, and is this a trend going forward?
Well, populism, nationalism, whatever you call it. We were talking last night about, you remember Tom Friedman's, I think, famous book, The World is Flat. And people were saying, actually, it's not so flat. And in fact, it's gone the reverse way, that people are not notable for their similarities, but they're increasingly notable for their dissimilarities. One American said to me last night, didn't realise that the UK consisted of 4 separate units. Now knows. So there is. It's more distinctive and more individualistic approaches that have become more. And that has implications for our industry, for advertising and marketing. And we live in very much a global world. But if I look at how we're trying to organise WPP, for example, what we call horizontality, we do it through clients, which is a global structure, and we also do it locally through country managers such as Ranjan Kapoor in India and others, covering 53 of our 100 or 51 of our 113 countries we operate in, and we'll get to 113.
So when you talk about India, how do you look at India right now? Is it still the one among
the last brick standing? And Brazil doing a little bit better than I thought it would, but of course it's got some tough challenges. It'll take 2 to 3 years. Russia, of course, is extremely difficult. Maybe with the Trump administration we'll see a change maybe in sanctions in relation to Russia. There was some suggestion of a nuclear deal in return for a reduction in sanctions. China, the Premier was here, President was here, and clearly the Chinese are filling the vacuum that the Obama administration created, not just in Latin America and Africa, but here in Davos. And we heard a speech from the president which quoted Dickens and quoted Lincoln, and was more a speech that people said President Obama would give rather than the head of the second largest economy in the world. So I think the 2 things that come out of Davos is firstly the growth opportunities in the US in the short term under the Trump administration, reduction in tax, infrastructure spending, repatriation of earnings, all are good for the US economy in the short term. And the other thing is that China is becoming a force. Some people are talking about yesterday being a pivotal moment in the growth and development of China, but they're certainly really taking advantage, and timing is everything, and they look for the long term. So we'll see. It's a very interesting development yesterday.
So you just started off by saying that India is strong, but there's a demonetization event that happened in India. What are clients telling you on that?
Caused a few
sentiment.
It caused a few ripples in the short term, but I think the reverse actually. I'm surprised by the resilience of the Indian economy. If I look at our numbers, we went through $600 million of revenue last year, well through last year, and we're looking at 700 million this year in India alone, where headcount in India was 15,000 last year. We're now forecasting 17,000 for this year on the average. The budgets tend to be on the high side and come in lower, but we're really growing extremely well and quickly. And Modi has made a fantastic difference. There's something about people whose their last name's initial begins with an M, and Macri and Modi.
Yes.
Macri has done a very similar job, at least initially in Argentina, but Modi's done a fantastic job in India.
But you haven't seen any pullback in ad spends, no hurt of category just yet?
No, that might be us, because we have a very significant share in the Indian market. But no, we haven't, and it continues to grow. Our business, they grow and prosper. We have excellent people there, outstanding people. As I said before, if we had the same people in the rest of the world as we have in India, I could retire, which a lot of people would cheer at. About time he went.
But India continues to be under-advertised and under-branded.
Under-branded, yes, and that's the big growth opportunity. So if we look at advertising per capita or brand spending per capita, it tends to be. Now, we did a very interesting survey of the top 30 Chinese companies that are expanding their influence abroad. Lenovo was at the top, and then I think Huawei was number 2, and I think I'm right in remembering that Haier was number 3. But what you are seeing is the growth of the major multinationals from countries such as China, from countries such as India,
right,
from countries such as Brazil, and indeed others, Indonesia, or the Philippines. And so the real competition for the Western-based multinationals and not the other Western-based multinationals.
It's actually emerging markets.
And they're not emerging.
More
some of them have emerged. I think it's somewhat condescending for us here to call them emerging markets. They're fast-growing markets, and India continues to be an excellent fast-growing market. So I remain even more of a raging bull on India, but that might be a sell signal if I say it.
But if I may ask you a last question before I let you go away from this freezing cold, my hands are frozen too. Yes, but 2014-15.
We were in a broom cupboard with the BBC, so this beats that.
So 2014-15 was a big moment in India's history. Narendra Modi came to power. You were very bullish. Are you still as bullish as far as the government is concerned? Because things have slowed down. There has been a legislative logjam.
Yes, I remain. I mean, the change. I mean, India has the opportunities in India have developed rapidly over the last few years and have accelerated in the last couple of years at a time when those fast growth markets, I mean, the irony about the phrase fast growth markets, they're not as fast as they used to be, and the mature markets of the US and Western Europe from low positions, particularly Western Europe, have improved. But, what we see here at Davos, if you said to me generally what's the view, and this might be the reverse, we should go the reverse way. US looks stronger in the short term. The question is how long it lasts. Western Europe, we had the Brexit speech from Theresa May yesterday. It's going to be bumpy in Western Europe, that's for sure. Germany, France, Italy, Spain, UK. Whilst the prospects might look okay for this year, say in the UK, I mean, there are lots of uncertainties. And then those fast growth markets, we're seeing a pickup in some countries like Brazil, Russia, question mark, India still strong, and I think the prospects are good. And China, I think the prospects are starting to strengthen a bit in China. But obviously China has a number of issues still to deal with. So all in all, if you said to me what's the biggest challenge, it's getting companies to focus on the long term. Companies generally still focus too much on the short term.
On that note, Sir Martin Sorrell, thanks very much for being in conversation.
Thank
Thanks very much. Sir Martin Sorrell in conversation with us right here at ET Now.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ET Now Live. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.